After an eye operation, Mrs. Ng learns she'll be temporarily blind, and it'll take her eyes 3 days to fully recover. Fortunately, she's married to successful surgeon Jack Ng, which means they can afford a maid. May is in charge of all the house chores and still has time to flirt with her friend the cop, who has gotten tickets to see a popular singer in concert. May accepts to go with him, but only if he does a favor for her first. She needs him to take Jack's photo roll to be developed because she forgot to do it and doesn't want trouble with her boss. The first day of blindness goes well for Mrs. Ng. Jack uses the situation to tease her a lot and they have fun together. Sadly, Jack can't stay with his wife during her recovery because there's a conference he must attend in Macau. Before leaving, he takes Mrs. Ng's cell phone with him since he forgot to charge his own, which is why he drops it on the couch. Shortly after he leaves, May asks permission to leave as well because she needs to buy more medicine for her asthma, but she promises to be back soon. Now that she's alone in the house, Mrs. Ng decides to sit outside and have some fresh air while spending time with her dog. The pet almost runs away, but it is caught by a man called Sam, who immediately ties the animal to his doghouse. Sam is here to see Jack. Apparently they used to go to school together and Jack later operated on Sam's wife. Mrs. Ng invites him in to have a drink, but Sam only helps her get inside before deciding to leave. Mrs. Ng ends up falling asleep on the couch and wakes up in the evening to find a storm outside. May has not come back yet, which is worrisome, but the one that does return is Sam, who rings the bell and explains he hasn't been able to get a taxi because of the weather. Without suspicion, Mrs. Ng allows him to come in and shares some food plus warm tea. She also allows him to borrow some of Jack's clothes. In the privacy of the couple's room, Jack jumps on the bed while eating a juicy banana, feeling like a king. Afterward, Mrs. Ng and Sam sit in the living room to chat for a while. Sam shares the fact he works at a printing house and how much he loves his wife, but while at first he talks sweetly about her, soon he loses it and begins ranting about the fact she doesn't let him touch her because of the ink in his nails. When he realizes what he is doing, he quickly apologizes and decides to leave since the rain has finally stopped. As she tries to go back to her usual routine, Mrs. Ng can't shake the feeling someone is following her around. She decides to ignore it for now and to take a shower, but her feeling had not actually been incorrect. Sam is indeed in the house and getting in the shower with her. He keeps it quiet and lets his hands wander around Mrs. Ng without touching in some kind of psycho game that satisfies him with creepy control. However, he can't help going further and spitting some water at her, causing Mrs. Ng to panic. Sam runs away, but when Mrs. Ng carefully comes downstairs to see what is going on, Sam shows up pretending to have returned from the streets and puts up an act of him fighting the intruder and kicking him out of the house. Afterward, Sam puts some sleeping medicine in a glass of milk that he gives to Mrs. Ng to help her calm down before going outside, still pretending to be on the lookout for the intruder. As soon as he is gone, Mrs. Ng locks the door and tries to use the phone on the nightstand, but the wires have been cut. At that moment, the medicine kicks in and she falls asleep. The next morning, Mrs. Ng wakes up to find Sam eating at the foot of her bed. He drags her downstairs where he has breakfast waiting, but Mrs. Ng doesn't want to eat without going to the police first. To humor her, Sam grabs the phone and pretends to call the cops, but since she tried the phone last night, Mrs. Ng knows it is not working and finally realizes Sam has been the bad guy all along. She tries to make him leave by saying Jack will be back soon, but Sam knows he is away on a trip because he has been planning this for a year. He's also kidnapped May and has her in the trunk of his car. Mrs. Ng panics and tries to leave the house, but finds all exits locked while Sam throws a tantrum because a rat bit him. Then Sam decides he will smoke Jack's expensive cigarettes while Mrs. Ng cleans the mess he just made. As she moves around, Sam comes closer to tease her and ask her inappropriate questions about her inner desires, wondering if she has ever wanted a man other than Jack. Eventually he pushes her down to try to get busy with her, prompting Mrs. Ng to grab a fire poker to defend herself, but Sam easily takes it away and bites her neck as punishment. A few hours later, Sam makes lunch and makes Mrs. Ng eat even if she is not hungry, quickly becoming sick after Sam confesses he cooked the dog. Sam won't let her go if she doesn't finish it all, so Mrs. Ng must keep eating while crying her heart out. Afterward, while Sam is watching some family tapes, Mrs. Ng rushes to the bathroom and throws up everything she has eaten. Then she tries to cry out for help, but since nobody can hear her, she has a breakdown as she begins destroying the objects in the bathroom. Once she calms down, she returns to her room, where Sam approaches her as if this was all normal and begins talking about his wife again, explaining that later in their life together he learned she didn't want him to touch her because she had another man, not because of the ink in his nails. Afterward, Sam makes Mrs. Ng massage him and feed him while he watches television, giving Mrs. Ng time to think of a plan. She starts pretending to have an asthma attack and mentions May's name, but when Sam brings the medicine from May's bag, he finds it empty because he never let her get to the store. Not wanting his victim to die yet, Sam accepts to go shopping for more medicine, but only after locking Mrs. Ng in a closet. Luckily Mrs. Ng thinks fast and lets some of her dress get stuck in the door, allowing her to open it after Sam is gone. First she finds her keys, but Sam has broken them all. Next she finds the cell phone Jack had dropped on the couch, but it has run out of battery. Mrs. Ng begins crying until she remembers the charger in her room, thus she begins climbing the stairs with the battery in her hands. At that moment Sam comes back, and the panic makes Mrs. Ng trip and fall. There is no time to reach the room now, so to avoid Sam finding out about her plan, she quickly inserts the battery deep between her legs to hide it. When Sam finds her, he doesn't suspect anything and takes her to her room to make her take her medicine and rest, giving Mrs. Ng the chance to put the battery on the charger as soon as he is gone. Later in the evening, Sam appears in the room to yell at Mrs. Ng because he's discovered the medicine belongs to May. As punishment, Sam confesses that the man his wife cheated on him with had been Jack, her doctor. For 2 years, Sam didn't say anything about the affair because he wanted his wife to get better, but in the end she died of a heart attack, meaning Jack didn't do his work correctly. That is why Sam wants to revenge by doing to Mrs. Ng the same things Jack did to his wife. Mrs. Ng refuses to believe it, but Sam promises she'll know the truth when Jack comes back before he goes outside to have a smoke. A few moments later, a thief breaks into the house and finds Mrs. Ng in her room. She tries to defend herself with an umbrella, but the thief easily overpowers her and ties her to the bed, ignoring her warnings about Sam because he thinks she is lying to scare him away. Then the thief goes around the house to steal a few things before returning to the room, intending to get frisky with Mrs. Ng. To defend herself she bites him, causing the thief to step back and bump against Sam, who immediately begins beating the thief up, going as far as burning him with a cigarette and squeezing his privates painfully. Next, Sam shuts the thief up by putting a banana in his mouth so he can use a pair of scissors to cause further damage between the intruder's legs. After the thief passes out, someone rings the bell. It's the cop, who has come to pick May up to go to the concert. Sam pretends to be Jack and tells him May is not there, which the cop finds very weird. After forcing his way inside, the officer asks for a drink, and while Sam is in the kitchen, the cop goes upstairs to investigate. When he opens the door to the main room he finds a person sleeping under the sheets, and at that moment Sam stops him, bringing the drink and telling him Mrs. Ng is sleeping because she isn't feeling well when actually the person under the sheets is the unconscious thief. The cop also finds a wedding picture, but Sam had covered Jack's face with his own using a picture he had in his wallet. Meanwhile Mrs. Ng manages to push open the doors of the closet where Sam had put her, but her mouth, hands, and feet are tied so she can only make her way downstairs very slowly. While Sam sends the cop away, Mrs. Ng gets to the kitchen and uses a tool to cut off the ropes before running out of the house through the back door. Her sight is slowly starting to come back, allowing her to see a blurry light on the road and go to it to ask for help. The driver has an acute voice and when Mrs. Ng touches their hand she discovers it's a woman, making her believe she's safe. Actually this is Sam changing his voice and using May's body, and obviously he takes Mrs. Ng back to the house. In the meantime, the cop remembers he forgot to leave the pictures in the house and when he checks them out, he finally notices the man he saw wasn't Jack. The officer rushes back with his gun out, and as he explores the house quietly, he finds Mrs. Ng in the bathroom. He promises to help her get out, but now that he's distracted, Sam takes the chance to approach him from behind and stab him to death. Afterward, Sam takes Mrs. Ng to the couch to get frisky with her, dropping the cop's gun nearby. Mrs. Ng pretends to be into it to keep Sam distracted while she tries to reach her gun, but her plan is interrupted when suddenly Jack returns home. Obviously he thinks this is a normal affair, so Jack pushes Sam off his wife and kicks him a few times before turning towards Mrs. Ng to yell at her for her betrayal. This gives Sam the chance to recover the gun and shoot Jack in the leg before making him confess that he indeed had gotten busy with his wife before her death. While Sam beats up Jack, Mrs. Ng's sight continues to come back. It's still blurry but it allows her to find a fire poker and hit Sam with it. Unfortunately this isn't enough to stop him, and Sam just takes the poker from her before going back to hitting Jack. It seems Sam still can't tell Mrs. Ng is starting to see again, so she takes advantage of this to grab various objects around the house and make a plan. She throws a bunch of thumbtacks on the floor, and when Sam steps on them while looking for her, Mrs. Ng surprises him from behind and uses a spray can with a lighter to burn her enemy's face. Unfortunately the spray can stops working quickly, forcing Mrs. Ng to run to the kitchen to grab new tools. This time she throws some powder at Sam's eyes before hitting him with a piece of frozen food. Sam tries to defend himself with the fire poker but he can't see well, and since he can't find Mrs. Ng, he decides to force her out by turning on the burners. Before he can start a fire though, Mrs. Ng jumps on him and stabs him with a pencil before running away. When she makes it to the living room, her sight finishes coming back for good. Seeing Sam coming after her prompts her to pretend to still be blind, that way when Sam approaches her from behind she can counterattack by smashing a vase on his head. Then she runs back to the kitchen, where she grabs a bunch of beer cans and puts them in the microwave, turning it on before hiding behind a door. Sam tries going after her, but while he tries to get the door open, the microwave explodes and knocks him out. Mrs. Ng comes out, thinking it's finally safe, but Sam's actually awake and tries to attack her. Having no other choice, Mrs. Ng grabs the fire poker and stabs Sam with it. Afterward, Mrs. Ng goes to the living room and finds her husband asking for forgiveness. Mrs. Ng refuses to forgive him because it is his fault that she's now a murderer, but as she comes closer to yell at him, she discovers Sam had been behind Jack's body pretending to be him. This is the last straw for Mrs. Ng, who finally loses it and furiously begins hitting Sam with the fire poker until he's dead for good. A few weeks later, Mrs. Ng is living an independent woman's life in the city. When a random dude tries to take the cab she stopped from her, Mrs. Ng pushes him away as she reminds him nobody should treat women like weaklings to be bullied. Make sure to subscribe our channel Cinema-Fathom and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.